is an exciting moment. Welcome to episode 1 of the Prof G and Shively podcast, Justice University, talking about all things Justice University athletics. I am Jason Giroux, Prof G in other words. Teach on campus and do this for fun, I think. And then I'm here with Matt Shively. Matt, say hello to the fun people in the world.
Glad to be here, Jason. This is exciting stuff, groundbreaking stuff. We're going to bring some good content for those that love and are learning to love Justice University athletics. It's going to be great to bring it for them so they can hear and understand these student athletes and why we're such big fans and seeing them grow.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it right there at the end. We're here to talk about Justice athletics, obviously, but you teach at the school, I teach at the school, so academics is huge, leadership development is huge, and just character building and culture is massive for these young programs. So I'm excited to bring some of that over the course of these episodes into that, in addition to the fun stuff of what are all the teams doing.
I love that. It'll be great.
Absolutely. So this is our first episode. So aside from being a quick intro, which, by the way, you can follow us at Prof G and Shively on Instagram or Facebook. You can also subscribe to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, and we'd love to have you as part of that crew.
Do we have a MySpace yet?
I was thinking about it, but I couldn't get Ask Jeeves to tell me how to get to that website.
All right.
Those are really dated references for students that are listening.
They don't even know what that is.
They probably know what MySpace is.
Maybe.
It's probably somewhere in some music lyric or something. So we are excited to be here. So in addition to talking about all things athletics, we're going to talk about a variety of topics this year. But today, we want to touch on what's coming up because school's getting ready to start here the last week of August. And with that, games are starting even before then. So I'm excited to talk about the 3 main fall sports that are coming in. Justice, for those that don't know, does have men's and women's soccer, women's volleyball, men's basketball, and then there's a men's baseball program this year. I believe there might be a women's sand volleyball program this year as well, but I have not gotten confirmation on the details yet.
They've got the sand volleyball court all framed up.
Okay,
so
well,
they're working on something.
Probably going to be a spring sport with court being in the fall and sand being in the spring, so we'll talk more about them later on. But today, let's focus on men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds great. And these are programs that are growing, and all 3 of them. And volleyball has been around now. This will be its 4th year.
5th year, right? Oh, no, 4th year. You're right. You're right.
Year,
we just talked about that.
5th year of the school, 4th year of the volleyball program. And so they're coming into their own with, I think, a handful of seniors that have helped start the program and going to take it to their finish line, but not the programs. Yeah,
I think it's 4 or 5 seniors, Coach Chrissy was saying. So we'll get some words from Coach here as we go as well. But a lot of senior leadership on a younger team, which is good. 5 doesn't seem like a big number, but when you're a growing program, that's a big number. And just having the exposure that the volleyball team's finally starting to have. I was telling Coach Chrissy that I think women's volleyball has the farthest national reach.
Road trips and going out of state are really good for team chemistry. I think they're good for building a culture, and that's something Chrissy's all about. If you spend any time with her, you've mentioned this earlier, she's not just into winning volleyball matches. Like, she wants to build young women of character and of faith. And so it's impressive. So I think that's why I would say she's been so intentional about getting out of state early is in the program's history. It's to do that, to build some of that culture.
Yeah. I think some of the things, too, that we don't think about from an academic perspective, you and I do because we teach the classes, but having them out before school even starts also keeps them in class more days, I think, which is a hidden benefit to – it's tough when you're on the road 3 or 4 days and you miss that much content in your classes as well. So I know they have other road trips, but to knock out 5 matches, I think she said in the first weekend before school even starts is huge.
Yeah, that's really great. And I know she builds in study time when they are on the road to make sure they do their academics, and very intentional, as we said before.
I think all of them do.
Yeah,
I think it's just Chrissy is she's always been very vocal about how important that is, and just really a good model for the rest of the programs, I think, to follow the way that she's handled it, especially from the faith standpoint. To have Maddie baptized last year in the ocean on a road trip was amazing, because you could just see that faith culture that she's helping to build.
Right.
Yeah. So in terms of athletics, though, we talked a bit about athletics and the upcoming schedule with Coach Chrissy. This is what she had to say about that. I know you have to kind of piecemeal your schedule together as opposed to having kind of a conference schedule handed to you. So with that comes a bunch of new opponents usually. So tell us about either new opponents or opponents that you feel like you've developed new strategies for. Is there any match or anything that you've circled as crucial? Kind of give us an idea of the outlook for the season.
Yeah, so we're traveling the very first weekend of the season in August, and we're excited for that because we are facing pretty much all new opponents. They are NCCAA teams and a few NAIA teams, and we like to travel to at least once a season to get out of the NAIA bubble that is here. And winning, a majority of those games that first opening weekend is going to be crucial to our success. We have to win more than just the same teams we beat each year. And so if we're going to compete at nationals, that's going to be key. So we need to take away a win or two in that travel weekend right out of the gate. And I think that's doable with the amount of returning players that we have in our program and the senior leadership that we're going to have this year. So that's going to be really important. And then another big factor is going to be not hitting that, having a deep bench so that we don't have to worry so much about injuries and things. Girls can rest and come back as they need to, and there's not that pressure of I need to play through injuries because there's nobody else that plays my position on this team. And so that's going to be huge for us. We're playing a new team this year, West Cliff. We haven't played them yet, home and away, and we're doing playing a couple non-countable matches against Yavapai and some other teams up there that we haven't seen from Idaho and North Dakota and things like that. So that's up in Prescott. It's just a one day, but we're excited for that as well.
Okay, so one thing we just heard Coach Chrissy talk about was how important getting off the ground running is. She talked a lot about, getting some momentum in those first games of the season, the matches on that they're in California for, and then they've got a couple of things here back in the Valley. So I think that's important with every team, right? To get the ball rolling early.
Start on the right foot.
Mm-hmm.
It builds your confidence. It builds momentum. And momentum, a lot of times people will debate if that's a real thing. And I think you can't debate, however, that starting on the right foot gets you feeling confident that you can win and you can stack some wins together, but also play as a team. And early on, there's that awkwardness of we've only practiced, we've never really played. And so you're working out those kinks of trying to play as a unit, play as a team, and insert those new players to the team. And those seniors, of course, leading a lot on the court.
Yeah, I think it's not just getting off on the right foot that way, but they have 5 countable matches in the first weekend as well, which for those of you that follow Justice Sports, there are countable and non-countable matches, and to get into qualifying tournaments throughout the course of the year, you need to have a certain number of qualified match wins, right? So it's important to get those teams on the calendar, and the first few years is tough, right? Because getting those teams that are quote-unquote countable matches, right? They're tough because they don't know who Justice University is or why they should play us or any of that. So coaches have done a great job up until now.
That's right. Like early on, these other schools are trying to take a flyer on us. They don't even know. They're almost doing us a favor, right? But now we're at the point where those countable matches help them too, and we're also formidable. It's not just who's Justice? What's this school all about? It's no, these ladies come to play. These guys came to play, whatever sport we're talking about.
Absolutely. So they're traveling to Fuller, Missouri that first weekend. August 22nd, they're going to be out in Fuller, Missouri. They're going to play Evangel University, William Woods University, and Friends University, all 3 of those countable schools. And then also they're going to play Graceland University there on the 23rd as well. So it should be exciting stuff. These are a lot of small schools you and I are going to learn about as we go through the podcast as well. But
Friends University, if it's the same one I know of, they're out of Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
And so that one I've heard of. But yeah, we're learning these schools, these new competitors for our Justice University athletes as well. So that's one of the things I've enjoyed about the conference play in basketball, for example. You year over year get to meet some of these schools and see them develop as well. So it's cool to see future years when this happens for Justice playing the same teams over and over again in volleyball and soccer and things like this.
Yeah, I think the challenge for these 3 teams we're talking about today is that there's not technically a conference for them because not every school in our basketball conference has women's volleyball or women's soccer or men's soccer. So
right.
A lot of these teams that we're going to talk about in these sports, we may or may not even see or hear about when we get to baseball and basketball because the conferences aren't necessarily the same. So it'd be exciting if some of these schools can eventually come out and add programs so that we can maintain a similar conference rivalry, so to speak, as the other sports.
I think rivalries are good for sports in general, and it'll be neat to see volleyball, soccer, men's and women's, what teams kind of reveal themselves to be our natural rivals. And we've played a few of these schools year over year so far. Would they consider us a rival? Maybe not. But it's something that is good for sports. It gets you geared up when you see that name of that school that got you last year on the schedule. You want to pay them back.
Yeah.
It helps you play harder, I think.
The occasional sports fan knows the big schools anyway. I'm surprised just with how many schools there are in just the Valley. I mean, you talk about we don't have a conference, but we're playing teams like Park University out of Gilbert. We're playing Phoenix College, Ottawa University out in Surprise. Mesa Benedictine, we play them, Arizona Christian, Chandler Gilbert Community College. So there's just a bunch of different places right here in town. So if you're a Justice fan, you don't have to necessarily wait for that home game to go. You can go cheer on your team at any of these locations. I'm sure they'd love to have everybody out there.
Absolutely. I would say Park is probably the one across the board that's maybe our most natural geographic rivalry. Well, it's being in Gilbert as well. We'll have to see if that translates, but we played Park in several sports. Benedictine being another one in Mesa, not too far away.
Yeah.
And so it'll be good to see that develop. And let's get a Justice University contingency at these road games, these close road games. That'd be really great.
Absolutely. And I think the thing with Park specifically, and again, this is not coming from coaches or players, so this is not bulletin board material. This is strictly my hypothesis, is that there's been some close games with Park too. So I think women's volleyball finally got over the hump last year and beat them in one of their matches. And so it's been so tight every time they play that these are fun games to come out to and watch. And I really think that, teams like Park are starting to get to know who we are. Teams like OU, out in Surprise, they start to know who we are. But there's these other new schools that we talked about that have no idea who we are yet. So those will be important to start strong against those teams as well.
Absolutely. And, another thing that can go a long way for the development of a program is just do well in some of these invitational tournaments. Get a run going in one of these tournaments. And like you said, it puts on the map for, not that this is the reason you do it, but some of those student athletes notice us and perhaps they're going to transfer down the line. And that's a good thing to get them to say, yeah, I like how they play. And connect even with seeing how the coaches coach and how the players work as a unit and stuff like that. So these little intangible things go a long way.
It's interesting to see the different recruiting tactics, if you will, from the different coaches, in all the different sports. And so I would say women's volleyball seems to be the best example of a kind of grown at home program. She brings in a lot of freshmen or young transfers, right?
Yes.
So not a lot of like final year of their eligibility or whatever coming in and playing their last year, but building kind of from the ground up. That's why we have 5 seniors graduating that have been with the program for the entirety of the program. Whereas other sports, and I know there's like basketball, for instance, there's a lot of transfers coming in all the time from different schools that have played college before and things like that. So I know there's different places to recruit and different coaches have different styles in the way that happens. So
that's true. And even in volleyball specifically too, you see a lot of Arizona natives on the roster, to your point. But then a few from out of state, which is exciting. A couple of the returners from California and a newcomer from Florida, things like that. So it's good to see that stretch too beyond, both balance in that. Have a lot of homegrown talent, but also be able to attract those from out of state. That might bring in future people from that same state, maybe even that same high school.
Yeah, and we've always heard, you got to win the battle at home in recruiting in college sports, right?
That's
so
true.
You have to be able to get the people right in your backyard, and then if you can pull in some national talent as well, that's just all the better. So any final thoughts on volleyball other than we'll go over the game schedule here in a couple of minutes, but any thoughts on returning players or anything you're excited about this season specifically about volleyball?
Yeah, it's you and I have a couple multiple hats we wear and different angles we see our athletes and our students on our campus, and so we get to see them in the classroom, right? And one of the things I love watching about the women's volleyball players is how much they seem to like each other. How much you see that chemistry on and off the court. You see it in the classroom. You see them talking to each other, before and after class, and even maybe popping in and saying hi when they're on their way to class. And I think that goes a long way to develop chemistry. And that's what I'm expecting more than anything to take a huge step forward this year with volleyball, is for us to see that chemistry and that connection go even further to translate onto wins. And not all progress is wins. We know this. It's not just about wins and losses, but progress on the court. See them really translate to their game. And so that's the thing I'm most excited about, to see that chemistry that we've seen brewing for a few years really start to translate onto the court.
Right, and I think talking to Coach Christie, she talked about new talent coming in as well. We've always known that height and presence at the net is a big need for this program, and she was able to secure 3 6-foot-plus net players that can help. And the way she phrased it was a higher octane, faster offense to watch. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is just the speed with which that offense can move and the blocking game that can come with just extra height at the net.
Well, and we're talking extra 5 inches that they haven't had in past seasons.
And we've had maybe one player here and there that's
getting
been
close
near
to
that 6 foot
yeah,
mark. But
maybe in the high 5 foot, you know, 5'10".
And it's tough because we've seen our opponents come in with 2, 3, 4 girls that are over 6 foot or taller.
Some
and you're going,
redwoods.
oh. Yeah, they're tough and strong. But I'm anxious for that. I want to see the high speed. I want to see the blocking game at the net. I think that just makes for entertaining volleyball for everybody to watch.
It does, absolutely. I think it adds that shot of energy into the room when you see that block, or you see, that energy translates, right? Everyone, it's contagious. They'll catch it, and it'll be neat to see. I'm excited for that.
Coach Christie had this to say about the environment at Justice University's home court.
So the games are going to be closer. They're going to be much more exciting. And we just really need support of fans coming to our games. It lights an energy in the team when they know that their family and friends are there watching. The energy in our gym is just unmatched with how small it is and how low those ceilings are. It really can shake an opponent and give us a home court advantage. A lot of teams don't like playing us at our place because of that. So the more we can keep leaning into those advantages, I think the more successful we're going to be, and the more proud our school and our parents are going to be to have us, in their athletic program.
Very cool. Well, thanks for being here to talk about Justice volleyball coming up this season, and we look forward to the first game. When's the first home game people can come check out the squad?
Yeah, first home game is against Park at 6 p.m. on August 26th. It's a Tuesday night. And then we also have a Thursday night home game that week at 6 p.m. against Westcliff. They're coming in from California, so that'll be an exciting one as well.
Tuesday and Thursday. All right. Well, thanks again, Coach. You have a good season. We'll catch up with you along the way, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This
Thanks.
is great.
Well, Matt, I feel like we already spent a whole podcast talking about volleyball, but we have 2 very important sports to go still. Now, granted, less home games, I think, between the teams, but men's and women's soccer. I'm excited about those. What are your initial thoughts just going into the season based on what you've seen in the past and what you know about what's coming?
Yeah, men's soccer was one of our original sports at Justice University. So I'm excited to see its development into what would be year 5 for this program. That first year, they just played a lot of club teams. I don't think they really had any countable games. But now, they've had, for the first time, a loss of a few senior leaders on the pitch, but some additions to some new players. So it'll be really neat to see what Coach does with his newcomers and the balance of his loss of seniors and some of his new senior leaders that will develop into the program. Yeah,
and let's be honest, the seniors that have left and graduated were, for lack of a better term, kind of the face of the franchise when it comes to men's soccer at Justice. So to see them go and to see how these other younger players that have been there for a couple of years, but see how they step up into those leadership roles is going to be something definitely to keep an eye on this season. You mentioned countable games. They do have 11 countable matches this year with several home games, which I'm excited about.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And you could tell just from how you speak versus how I speak. You use words like pitch, and I say games, and I have to always constantly remind myself that match is the term for soccer or football, right?
Football.
Because, in all honesty, I love to watch the game of soccer, but I don't necessarily have the interior knowledge of that sport as I may of the others. So I'm excited to learn more this year. We should have sometimes when the coaches are with us, maybe on the podcast or even on the live broadcast, so they can teach us all a little bit more about soccer and some of the techniques they're using and some different things too. But I'm excited. You sound like you already watch a good amount of soccer, though.
A little bit. I do enjoy it. It's a growing love of mine, I would say. And soccer is unique because there is. Have you ever play the guitar? I'll give you for an example.
I tried to play the guitar.
Right.
But I've tried, yes.
So you can with guitar, you could play 5 chords and play a few songs and sound workable. But there's a huge drop off between being able to play 5 chords to being a master guitar player.
Uh-huh.
And I think soccer knowledge is similar. And so I think I got the 5 chords down, but I would not call myself a master. So when it comes to tactician stuff and tactics on the pitch and some of what they're looking for, what you're seeing even, I'm still a little bit of a novice on that. But soccer is, I will tell you, like, I always see the teams practicing when I come and leave campus and watching them train. Again, they don't call it practice.
Okay.
Yeah, a little trick.
We're not talking about practice?
No, it's called training inside. You know, it's okay. So yeah, I see them training on the pitch every time I come on campus and stuff. They really do put in the effort, and it's one of those sports too that you can really see that effort translating on the pitch after they really do get that camaraderie and that growth. And so sometimes you the early parts of a soccer season as well is they're trying to find everybody's spot on the roster. Some guys might have been recruited. They might be more of a striker. We might be striker heavy. They might need to come in and play a little more midfield, or maybe they're a midfielder, but we need them more playing back and playing some defense. And there's always some debate of who's going to be the starting keeper and things like that. So as that stuff fleshes out, it'll start to take form of really what we got this year, and I'm excited to see.
I like offense in whatever sport that I'm watching. I mean, good defense is fun to watch too, but I love high-scoring games, whether it be basketball, whether it be runs and base.
Right, and so defensive backs have to be more fit if that's the case, because they do a lot more running, where you could have, if you have a more relaxed tactic and your strikers are going forward and your midfielders are of course giving support, but your defenders are kind of staying back in their third of the pitch. They don't have to be quite as fit, but if you push forward your defenders into the attacking third even, they got to get back if there's a break.
I think it's fun for the players, right?
It is.
Players like offense too. I know the defenders have their place, but I think, if you want to get student body out there supporting every game, and in America, and we even touched on this in our conversation last week with Coach, America they like offense, it seems like, and that's why soccer may be struggling a bit to get the same status it does elsewhere, is that
Right.
we're looking for that. We sit here for 90 minutes and there might only be one goal scored.
Right.
This is rough.
Right.
But as somebody who, and I'm sure you are too, somebody who likes to watch plays develop and watch how the inner workings of the play is going, I think soccer is fascinating because you get to see a lot of that.
I think an X factor in soccer is your set pieces, and so hopefully they'll have some good players to take those set pieces, whether it's a corner or just a penalty from a reachable area to actually do some damage in the box. And so that'll be key. And again, these are things you can practice. These are things the right person will identify themselves as you practice and you train and you kind of see what you got. And so that'll be interesting. I know that's where losing seniors hurts, because those guys were probably the ones taking those set pieces. And so finding those new people to take those, and even penalties when you get them.
Yeah, you can take two. I mean, that on the field and then off the field and on the field is a leadership aspect. Like I said,
Right.
I'm looking forward to see who steps up and says, "All right, I'm the leader of the team," and I don't mean it from an ego standpoint. I just
Right.
mean in the locker room, somebody's got to be the one that rallies the troops, so to speak, and keeps them moving forward. So I'm excited to see who that's going to be, and maybe it's identified in the culture, and we're not a part of the day-to-day culture with the guys, but. I'm excited to see on the field how that pans out.
Absolutely.
So men's soccer, which we've touched on, has quite a few home games. First home game being on the 30th of August at 9 a.m. We're playing against Gillette College. Haven't seen that one before. I think that might be a new opponent. And then we play again. Lots of Saturday games, which I think is great for fans, to get fans out there. It's tough to get them out there in the mornings or evenings, even on a weekday. So if you're into soccer, come brave the heat. Bring an umbrella.
I'll throw a couple shout outs. We got Grove Coffee open for those. Also Dutch Bros across the street if you need your coffee for those early Saturday
Did you
games.
just like competitors right there across from each other?
Listen. Some people like coffee.
While we're at it, I don't drink a lot of coffee. There's a QT on the corner if you need to
there you
stop
go.
and get a drink there.
Okay, throw it in there.
Yeah.
Whataburger. You need some Angie's.
Angie's
Shout
great
out for some breakfast.
We're giving
Salad
lots
and
of
go.
time for non-sponsors.
And let's kick it to our sponsor, Salad and Go,
Yeah.
for a commercial break.
Just because you eat there 4 times a week doesn't make them a sponsor.
That's Angie's, not Salad and Go. Let's
Okay.
get that straight for the record.
Right. Maybe it's the students I see coming to class with their Salad and Go burritos and breakfast bowls every day. So anyway, maybe one day they will come sponsor us, Salad and Go, if you're listening.
And I'm saying whatever gets you to come watch our student athletes play,
Exactly.
do it.
Exactly.
Like, bring some food that's allowed. Take your trash with you. Come on now.
Yes.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. But bring your own chairs. There are some minimal bleachers out there, but they're a little warm in the summer with the metal bleachers. So feel free to bring a camp chair and some umbrellas and come check it out. 9 a.m. is not horrible, especially end of August. It's not too bad at 9 a.m. And then the other games, as they start coming back, are going to be in the evenings or early mornings again. So there's only a couple of games that are right in the middle of the day. One of them is against Nelson on the 20th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's September 20th. Might be a little bit warm still, but outside of that, most of them should be pretty nice soccer weather, I would think.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see a uptick of our crowd out there to watch these players.
Yeah, get out there and come stop and say hi if we're out there broadcasting or announcing the games. We want to, encourage you guys to come say hi. And our goal throughout this season of the podcast is also to get post-game, reactions from players and coaches and things like that we can share with all of you out there as well. So I'm excited for the men's soccer season. The women's soccer, we did talk to Coach Mike about what he is looking for and what we can count on from his team this season, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I can't wait. Just been smiling ear to ear, ready to get going for the season. Actually having a full team and rosters and subs, I know is something the girls will appreciate, and just helps build the program and community around the school, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no more running 90 minutes with no subs for anybody, huh? So
in August at 5:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, no thank you. So every team faces unique challenges, but also unique strengths. So what do you see this season as your defining characteristics of the squad? Like what areas do you think you might excel in? What do you want people to know about your squad going in?
One, I think just with the returners here, they've set a good foundation as far as culture and what we do on and off the field, which is huge for us. And then now adding almost doubling our roster, so bringing in the new players and some are upperclassmen, so they got some experience. And I'm hoping the biggest thing, I think they're going to come in and gel together and kind of excel and just kind of push our program even more. So I think that's one of our biggest things, and one of the things I'm really excited to kind of integrate everybody together.
So with the new season comes new opponents in a lot of ways. I don't know if you guys have new opponents this year, but definitely fresh strategies. So are there any particular spots on the calendar, matchups, anything like that you've circled as crucial? And if so, how are you preparing the team for those type of moments?
Yeah, I think right in the beginning of the season, just we open up with Park. Park's always a good opponent here, and they're right down the street from us, so that's always good to come in and start off game one with a good rival. And then after that week, ending that week, we head out to California and play Westcliff, who had won their conference last year. Tough team, we played them last year. Great coach, great program. And then we end with Life Pacific on that whole weekend. So just getting the first 3 games and really getting us to, we're going to go travel and kind of build ourselves up and kind of start becoming some road warriors here soon.
Yeah, the road can bring teams together, right? So that's a good bonding moment for sure, especially for the new girls to feel assimilated really quickly in the season as well. So last question I really have for you is for any of the Lions fans that are thinking of coming out to the games, or those boosters or faculty, anybody that supports you guys, what message do you have for them about what they can expect from your team, and also how they can best support you?
Expect them to come in and compete. They're going to be tough-nosed kids. They love each other. They and on the field, off the field, you always see them walking around, helping out, doing something around campus, off campus, and so they're always in the community out there looking to reach out and talk and hang out with everybody. So don't be afraid to come say hi to them at practice, out on campus, and our schedule's up online, so always check us out. And I know we got a lot of road games, so we need all the support we can get.
Got to get people working out on the field at 5 a.m. since it's 120 degrees outside.
Yeah. So we got to adjust to those times too. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on, not back on with us. We'll hopefully talk to you throughout the season, maybe after some games, and get your thoughts on what's going on or kind of anything you're seeing. But appreciate the insight and look forward to the way you lead the young ladies at Justice. I know you're a character guy just from knowing you a little bit. You seem like you're not just an X's and O's, wins and losses person, but you're looking for true player development and character building and all that too. So I wish you best of luck on that. Where's the first game located that local fans can come and support you?
First home game will be August 22nd versus Park. We'll be at AZ Athletic Grounds. 6 p.m. is the women's game, and then the men's follow right after that.
Awesome. So Lions fans, time to come out for both games, not just one or the other. Stay in and help both teams win, and we will see you out at AZ Athletic Grounds on the 22nd. Thanks, Coach. So what I love, Matt, is about all of our coaches that we've talked to is that they want the fans to know that they can count on a team that comes out and competes every time. And, Coach Curtis said this to me last week. Coach Mike said something very similar about players that don't want to be pulled off the field, that's the mentality they're trying to get. They want, obviously if somebody needs rest, they need to come off. If they're hurt, they have to come off. But they want people that want to be out there for 90 minutes, running hard and playing. Nothing I would ever be able to do. I think about 2 minutes in, I'd be like, okay, you guys come on in for me. But 90 minutes of running around in the heat is a lot to ask. They're both focused heavily on fitness. They're both focused on getting the attitudes of the players that don't ever want to be off the field.
And women's soccer has added a lot more players. And so that means they are able to have subs, have fresh legs. And so, yes, the fitness level will be up, but they'll also get a chance to get a breather when they need it so that they can stay fresh. In the past, we've had a lot of these girls have been playing out of position, out of necessity. Or, like you said, gladly playing the full 90, but not having any subs. And so everyone's playing the whole 90.
Or through injuries.
Or through injuries. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them really battle injuries. And we have a lot of tough girls on that soccer team, I'll tell you. And they're really good players, but they're also really tough mentally. And that's needed for the grind of a season, but also these are student athletes. They have busy lives on top of it all.
Yep.
But that mental grind can take a toll. And again, yet another reason why having more people on the team will be a really good benefit this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to Coach Mike about his recruiting as well, and he was just telling me, he thinks of himself as a little bit as a rarity because he's up at 3 a.m. doing Zoom calls with players that are in Ghana or players that are elsewhere just because he has to do the time zone differences. But he said he's pretty much all day, every day watching film and using recruiting apps. And he's, for those of you that didn't follow soccer the first few years, they were running with bringing in club players to sub on the weekends and, not having any subs like we talked about, players out of position like you mentioned already. But to bring in now, he said they have a squad of 20 this year. So,
wow.
To have the girls on the field, but then to have plenty of subs as needed is going to be huge. Even just, we've got some games that are pretty close in time frame, so even just to maybe have a coach's decision for a day of rest or something too, to be able to have that flexibility will be huge. Right.
And the recovery from injury gives them that time. They don't feel like they have to rush back if they're feeling not 100% and then get hurt worse as a result. So that'll be really, really good. And again, they'll start to develop those leaders that will be the leaders on the pitch will start to reveal themselves. Maybe it'll be some new people. Maybe it'll be these established returners. And I know we have some upperclassmen this season, and seeing them kind of develop into those older upperclassmen leaders will be really cool to see.
First one with a vuvuzela to come say hi to me, get something. I'll have a little something for somebody, but we need some noise out there. I know for basketball and things, the soccer guys came in with their snare drum and making loud noise. It's a little harder outside, so we need that many more people out there making noise. So,
but does it have to be that noise?
Well, I think it's soccer.
Yeah, vuvuzela, definitely. That's
Did
definitely.
You say vuvuzela? Am I wrong or is okay? Comment on this status.
Let's put out a poll on Instagram.
Social media post. How do you pronounce it? Is it vuvuzela or
vuvuzela?
Vuvuzela.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm now the way you're looking at me, I think I'm wrong. But let's see what everybody else has to say, and then we'll go to the dictionary for the right answer. But so I'm excited coming to the end of the podcast here, but boils down to this first week. Make sure you get out there for men's soccer on the 22nd of August. They're playing at Arizona Athletic Grounds, which is in Mesa, but they're playing Park, the local team here. So get out there and support them. First home game for them is going to be on August 30th, as we mentioned before. Women's soccer, they're going to be traveling a little bit, but they do have a game in Mesa also at Park. So 5:30 p.m. for the women's game that night on the 22nd of August, followed immediately by the men's game. So come out and check both games out at the Arizona Athletic Grounds. And then for women's volleyball, your first chance to see them in action. You could go see a preseason scrimmage out in the Surprise, but I think you're going to want to probably check out the first home game, 26th of August against Park at 6 p.m. Make sure you're out there, make sure you're loud, and bring your friends and family. Any last words about the season, Matt, before we sign off of our first episode?
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited not only for us to get to call some of these games, but to get to know on a deeper level these programs and these coaches and see what they put together. But these athletes, as you and I know them as students in the classroom, to see the other parts of their life as well, a little bit beyond the classroom, will be really great. And I would say, that's the thing. If you are a parent of one of these student athletes, if you are just a diehard fan, which we do have a few of those, even as early into the program as we are, we have some. We'd love for you to continue to support and let that build, and let's make it a name around the Valley that people know.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, this has been fun. We're learning as we go, so I'm sure episode 100 will be a lot better than episode 1, but I thought we started off pretty strong.
We brought it.
I'm just saying.
Not
that I'm tooting my own horn here. But
no. And then, besides the Vuvuzela, what if they brought it? Yeah. What if they brought a didgeridoo? Will we?
A didgeridoo?
Yeah, will be.
What is a didgeridoo?
It's the Australian version. It's more of a.
Okay, so if somebody happens to find a didgeridoo,
yeah, even better.
That would be Maybe I'll have 2 prizes on that.
It plays a lower tone than your Vuvuzela.
Vuvuzela.
That one.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining the Prof G and Shively podcast, episode 1. We look forward to seeing you on the games. Check in on YouTube on the Justice University Athletics YouTube channel. Subscribe there for upcoming games that we're going to be broadcasting live for the first time this year. We didn't even talk about that. We've always kind of done just the in-person announcing, but we will have an online broadcast for most of the games if we can get there. So check that out. And again, subscribe to us on Instagram or Facebook at Prof G and Shively. Thanks for checking in.